The air conditioning unit in the office hummed a low, clinical drone, a sound I'd learned to associate with the careful, measured rise and fall of my own breathing. I was in the middle of closing a 9-figure deal, the kind that demanded absolute focus, when the notification flashed across the locked screen of my secondary phone, the one I used only for social media and, recently, for surveillance. It was her. A photo bright and sun-drenched, a postcard from Bali. She was laughing, head thrown back, a stranger's arm draped possessively over her shoulder. Not just any stranger. Mark. Her high school what-if. The kind of handsome, carefree ghost she'd always claimed meant nothing. The caption, a single toxic dart. Bored with the old man, decided to upgrade the view. 217 miles away, a glass of iced water sat untouched on my mahogany desk. The chill of the ice felt 1,000 miles from the heat that settled, solid and cold, in my own chest. It wasn't the image that broke the surface, it was the casual cruelty of the words. Old man. I looked down at my hands, steady on the polished wood. The hands that built a fortune she was currently spending. They weren't old, they were simply patient. I didn't move, didn't flinch, didn't even tap the screen to view the comments already piling up like toxic waste. The shock was a low-frequency hum, not a sudden explosion. I had been waiting for a piece of evidence this clean, this undeniable. The suspicion hadn't been an itch, it had been a slow, controlled tightening in my gut over the last 3 months. The late nights with friends, the sudden feverish obsession with her phone's privacy, the way her eyes, when she looked at me, always seemed to be calculating distance. This trip was supposed to be a spa retreat with her sister. The sister, I knew, was currently house-sitting my yacht in Monaco. I'd checked. The Bali flight was booked on a burner card, but the hotel Wi-Fi's IP address had been cross-referenced with her burner phone's GPS data, a small clinical courtesy I'd set up before she left, just in case. Mark's face, smiling into the lens, was the confirmation the data already whispered. Infidelity was common. Contempt was the indictment. She hadn't just betrayed a vow, she'd publicly mocked the source of her comfort, her security, her entire fabricated world. The deep breath I took was not a gasp of pain, but a calibration. The game had just escalated. I pressed the small illuminated intercom button on my desk. Call legal. Transfer the primary holding accounts. Set the immediate, non-negotiable freeze on all joint credit lines and personal bank cards. Everyone. Do it now. My voice was flat, an emotionless monotone that carried the weight of finality. Then, reroute all calls from her personal line to my desk. I want to be the one who answers. I leaned back, the leather chair sighing softly under my weight. I closed the deal, signed the papers, and smiled the polite, razor-thin smile of a man who had just won a war. I watched the clock hand sweep past the 2-hour mark. The phone rang. The screen displayed her name, her cheerful vacation photo. I let it ring twice before I picked up. "Hello, darling," I said, my voice smooth, almost melodic, the sound of a calm lake hiding a perfect, deadly depth. The receiver crackled with tropical static and raw panic. "My cards are declined. Every single one. What the hell is happening? The bank says they're all frozen. We're at a 5-star resort, and they just embarrassed me at the bar. Why don't my cards work anymore?" The question was a frantic, demanding whine, a child throwing a tantrum because her candy was gone. The "we" was a small, satisfying cut. I paused, letting the silence stretch across the thousands of miles, letting the expensive air of Bali taste like ashes in her mouth. I watched the photo on the secondary phone, her laughing face, the sun, Mark's hand. "Well," I finally said, the words slow and deliberate, "perhaps you should ask the old man." A sharp, audible intake of breath on the line. The laughter was gone. The contempt was replaced by a terror so pure it was almost beautiful. I didn't wait for the inevitable torrent of excuses, the sudden love that would pour forth when the money dried up. I pressed the end button. I placed the phone back in its cradle, the click echoing in the silent office. There was no rage, no satisfaction, just the simple, cold awareness of a puzzle solved. The debt was settled, not in cash, but in the complete psychological undoing of her carefully curated reality. She'd wanted an upgrade. She'd gotten a disconnection. The view from my office window was pure concrete and glass, cold, towering structures built on logic and leverage. It was a more honest landscape than the one she'd sold me. The old man wasn't bored. He was simply done. I picked up the secondary phone and, with a single unceremonious tap, blocked her. Finality, the most powerful currency.